Hello, everyone. Today is episode 10, and just as I promised in the last episode, now things are going to start getting real. This is going to be the biggest episode yet. We're going to have a lot of things we need to get done, so let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be planning to do today is we are going to be making an Enderman farm. I remember I mentioned this in the last episode, but Enderman farm it's my number one favorite farm of all time. It's extremely important. You just really cannot understate how important it is to a have a source of a lot of XP. And an Enderman farm is just such a great way to do that. It is really efficient. You're going to get so much XP so quickly. You're also going to get a ton of Ender Pearls. I don't think we're going to need that many Ender Pearls, but it certainly won't hurt to have it. And this is probably not going to take that long. I think we already have most of the resources we're going to need for it. We might have to do a little bit of resource gathering, but just a little bit. I mean, for me, it'll probably take an hour, but in terms of like the final video, it'll probably just take like the first couple minutes here, and then we can quickly move past it. But it's just a really good, nice thing to have. First thing, once after you get the Ender Dragon and after you have Elytra and everything, first thing you want to do is get an Enderman farm. It's the best farm that I definitely recommend to anyone who's to anyone who has their own world out there, because this is just my favorite farm. An iron farm is also very good. I have a lot less experience in making iron farms, but you can always just follow a tutorial. I'm probably still gonna follow a tutorial just to make sure I have like the exact dimensions down, because I haven't memorized the number of blocks an Enderman has to fall before it dies, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so the Enderman farm was not difficult for me to make it at all. I already mentioned I had experience with it, and I ended up following a tutorial. The tutorial I used was by Rate Good. I believe that's how you say his name. Either way, there'll probably be a link to the tutorial in the description of the video. But yeah, like I said, this is probably going to be the easiest, most straightforward thing that we're actually going to do in this video. We're going to be spending a lot more time doing other stuff, but this is just a good thing that you want to get out of the way. The design is pretty simple and easy to understand. It's pretty much the similar type of deal to a lot of other mobs farms, or essentially you just have all the mobs drop from a certain height so that they're at a low enough HP so that you can just kill them, and they'll be at like 1 HP, so you can just easily kill them all, super easy, and then you'll get a bunch of XP, and then you have this big platform where they're all spawning. And the trick for this one is that the Endermen chase Endermites. So you put an Endermite in the minecart, and then the farm will have all the Endermen attracted to them. That Endermite was pretty hard to get in the minecart, by the way. I mean, not only did I not get a lot of luck spawning the Endermite with the pearls, but it also just took a while for me to actually get the Endermite to fit in the minecart. I don't know if there was an issue with the orientation of the thing or whatever, but that was a project in itself. Okay, so the next step that we had to do now that we have the Enderman farm up and running is we're gonna have to get a lot of ice. And by a lot of ice, I mean a lot of ice. Definitely a lot more than any resource that I've had to collect en masse in this world so far. You probably can figure out why, but if you haven't figured it out yet, it'll all be explained soon enough. And we're going just for blue ice here. We are not going for packed ice, we're not going for regular ice, just the best of the best blue ice. It's a little more expensive, actually it's a lot more expensive, a lot harder to get, probably would have taken me a lot less time if I if I was going to just go for packed ice. But I figure that, if this is a forever world that I'm going to be playing on long term, you might as well get put in the time investment for the actual best of the best. Because I know, like, if you're just using packed ice, especially if it's like a more frequently traveled ice highway, which is what this is for, if you couldn't tell already, then you're gonna be then it's gonna eat you up, being like, oh, I could be a little bit faster, and like theoretically, you're probably gonna get that time investment back just in the travel times, because if it's not fast enough, then you might as well just use the Elytra, and then you gotta spend that time investment, farming for more rockets, and yeah. So I decided it was worth it to get the best of the best blue ice. We are getting exclusively blue ice. We're gonna need a lot of it, more than 2 shulker boxes worth. We also are gonna need some rails. So I already had a lot of iron, so I could already make a lot of the rails. But I just decided to head over to the mountain by the village we went to get the villagers, so we could mine a little bit more iron, just so we could get the final supply of rails. And we were also able to get a nice supply of coal as well. We didn't really need a coal. I already had extra, and we're not going to be needing it for this particular project, at least I don't think. But it's always nice to have extra coal, So with the ice and the rails out of the way, the final resource we would need is gold for power rails. So I figured that the best way to do that would be to just raid a couple bastions for all of those gold blocks, and we should be able to get everything we need and more pretty quickly. And well, you can just see how that went for yourself. Yeah, I died. I mean, luckily at this point I'm a lot richer and I have a lot more of the infrastructure set up, so that it was, so that it just took, like 3 or 4 hours probably to get back to the level of stuff that I had before I died. Instead of being like 2 or 3 entire episodes of me trying to get all my stuff back. But at this point, it's whatever. I have to. We're going to have to move on. You could do a whole death analysis of how, but we're gonna move on. All I know now is that bastions are banned. Alright. When I now try and get all the gold, I'm not gonna be doing a bastion, which probably gonna take a lot longer. But whatever. I'm not. The next time I step inside of a bastion is when Mojang drops the nuclear bomb update, so that I can drop a bomb on every bastion within a 1,000 block radius, so I never have to go near them ever again. Yeah, but anyway, we're just gonna have to get the gold by mining for gold ore in the nether, and we're just gonna have to strategically avoid all bastions we find on the way, because I'm not even gonna test fate anymore, even though I was trying to be cautious before, but we're just not going to try that anymore. I don't think there's any reason why I would be absolutely forced to go in a bastion from now on, or at the bare minimum. If I'm ever going to go in a bastion again, it has to be like some sort of complete demolition effort where I have already previously completely cleaned out any possible way of it. It's got to be some crazy event. So now that we eventually have gotten pretty much all the resources we're going to need for this project, we're going to actually be able to start building. So, as I kind of teased earlier, this is going to be a transportation system. We're going to start, essentially it's going to be like a highway system or like a train system, some sort of transportation system. We're going to start by connecting it from the home base to the stronghold, just because I feel like, at least as of now, that's definitely where we're traveling between the most. And I also don't really have that many far-flung structures yet, but when we start building other places, it's going to be there. And I'm also making a point to not use nether highways here. We're actually going to be building this completely in the overworld. That's not really like a thing, and it's not related to me dying in the nether again, but it's just I feel like doing a nether highway. I don't really feel like having to go through these dimensions, and I also feel like going through the nether, it's like there's so much stuff that is in the way, like the lava and the fire, and there's also like the nether fog. I feel like just aesthetically, if you're in the overworld, a transportation system, it's going to be definitely a lot more work, and I'm probably like all the resources that I gathered here today is probably not going to be nearly enough. I just did a blanket plan for like pretending that this track between the house and the stronghold is going to be about 1,000 blocks long, and that's basically what I based the amount of ice and rails I should get off of. Though now, kind of reconsidering my calculations, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot more than 1,000 blocks long. I actually think it's probably going to be closer to like 2,000 blocks long, or maybe even longer than that. But this first part is definitely going to be able to get us a long part of the way through to connecting them both. So we're going to just build a station right here at the home base. We're going to build another station at the stronghold connected to the portal, and then we're going to connect the two stations up, and then eventually when we start getting more places we'd like to connect, we'd be able to connect those up. And depending on and we're also probably going to also have a nether highway system at some point, but that's like far flung future. I don't have nearly enough stuff going on in this world yet to do that. Although with the speed of the episodes picking up, I told you all about we're gonna be picking things up. We're gonna be doing a lot more stuff per episode now that we have beat the Ender Dragon and gotten the Elytra. We're now up to being more of a big budget, one of these big budget worlds where you see the YouTubers, they have the, every episode they're doing this insane mega project, and then they also like build 3 different farms in a single episode, and then, this whole insane thing. We're going to be probably not that level, but we're going to be coming closer to that level. And we're going to make this we're going to be starting with this first project here with the subway station. We're going to be making it a subway station instead of an above ground station, because while I would have liked the aesthetics of having the station above ground, and I did just want to have, you also just want to have more stuff above ground, I figured that I'd probably want, just because number 1, the stronghold's underground, and number 2, it would probably be a lot easier to go through the underneath terrain than having to either dig tunnels and you have to tear up a bunch of stuff. Probably just better to have it going underground, so that way I'd still be able to build stuff above ground on top of it, because you can't have the boat highway change Y levels. You can't go up and down with it. You could go up and down with a rail, but the rail is going to be on top of the boat. the boat system. I figured we'd want to do a boat system and a rail system at the same time, rather than just choosing either or, because while the boat system would be a lot faster, and it's probably what we're going to be using more. What we're going to be using more over the rail system. The advantage of the rail system is that, number one, you could transport like mobs and stuff. I mean, you can transport mobs and stuff in a boat too, but you can like transport them, and you don't have to interact with the thing while you're traveling. You can just, press the button to start the minecart, and then the minecart starts traveling, and then the powered rails are going to automatically carry you to your destination. So however long the travels take, especially if it's going to be a particularly long travel, you can just kind of like do whatever else during the travel, which, it's a plus, I suppose. It's a plus. Okay, and so with that, we are pretty much finished with this home station. I might change some bits or whatever, make slight additions later, but we are pretty much 99% done with it. And at this point, now all we have to do is create a, not necessarily exact copy, but same style of station over by the stronghold, and then we can connect them later. Flight I've made many times at this point, maybe too many times, but we won't have to be flying it much longer. Yeah, we're just gonna connect it right next to the stronghold. We're gonna renovate the rest of the stronghold, make it look a lot nicer. Probably in a later episode. I don't know if it'll be next episode or an episode after that, but we're definitely not going to be able to just leave it in this default, in the way it defaultly looks. I don't really have a plan for how it's going to look yet, but it's going to be something. It's going to be something. Either way, we're just going to build another station connecting to the portal, and it's going to be pretty much the same type of design as the other one near home, or at least like a similar design, even if it's slightly different. And it'll probably take a lot less time, just because now I kind of know what you kind of know what you're doing a little bit more, rather than the first time where you're just kind of figuring it out. But either way, we're going to just build this station done, and that'll be pretty much all we have to do for the rest of this episode. And then next episode, we're gonna do some more stuff, related to this whole transportation system setup that we're still working on. It's gonna definitely be worked on. I mean, really, as the world expands, and whenever you build in a new area for any extended period of time, obviously it's going to then therefore require a new station. So obviously at some point, so like theoretically this will never be completely finished for real, because you never really know, whether or not you're going to be completely done connecting everything in the world, right? You never know if the new place you're building is going to be of significance enough that you're going to need a station, or if it's just like a one-off thing. You don't really know either. But this is a good start, because I mean, there's a lot of rockets that you're going through. How many times you have to go from the end to to home, and you're doing so much, and it's definitely going to be a very good use. It's going to see a lot of use. Yeah, and so we're going to try and the thing I'm trying to really push myself to do here is just to not cut any corners. If the concept of it is that it's going to be a quote-unquote forever world, then you're going to be playing it for at least an extended period of time, then you should, you should be willing to, put in the time crunch and really, really go in for a big time project. And I mean, just this one station isn't really a big time project, but once you really start adding in station after station, and then you have like the nether thing, it'll not only it'll be a pretty advanced system, or it'll be a pretty impressive thing to show off that you built all this, but it'll also be it also encourages you to actually build it in locations, because we have the stronghold, but I would like to first I have to develop the original area where the house is first. We have the house, and then we have the one building with the villagers in it, and the sugarcane and all the sugarcane farm and all the other farms, but we don't really have a lot of other stuffs there, so I'd like to turn that into a whole thing. I mean, I don't know when this is all going to be. We're not going to get all this done in the next episode or this episode, but we're gonna work towards that. We're gonna we're gonna kind of build out the area we're in, and then we're gonna also have new areas, and we're going to connect them all up, both in this underground subway or highway system type of deal, but we also want to have a more natural physical road, above ground road connections. And with that being said, I think we're just gonna have to add this last kind of touch to the station, the rail, and this is pretty much the format the tracks are gonna be. We're gonna have the blue ice, and then we're gonna have the rail track. I'm 99.9% sure you can ride a boat on top of rails. If you can't, which I guess I'll have to test that out, but if you can, I guess we'll just have to remove the rails and we'll put them somewhere else, because I do want to have the minecart option, as well as the boat connection. So we'll find somewhere else to put them, but I'm pretty sure you can. So we're just going to add this final touch here, and we're not going to do the full connection of the two stations here today. That's probably next episode, or I might just do it off camera, to be honest. Because I can't imagine me spending a billion hours just making the same tunnel would be that interesting. So actually I might just do it off camera, or I'll just put it in a little time, a little thing that you do at the start of next episode, and we also have an additional project, because you're doing multiple stuff per episode. We're not just doing one thing. I mean, we could do one thing if we have a big project, but even then, every big project, you're not just you never really are able to just sit down and build for 6 hours straight, because there's always going to be oh, I needed this, I forgot about this resource, or oh, I got this resource, but then I didn't get enough, or oh, I have to do all the transport for this, or oh, I wanna do the whatever, you never know what's gonna happen, but it's pretty rare that you're going to 100% of the time be able to just sit down and do a project at one time. I wonder how people do it, because there's just so many ways that you could be distracted in this type of stuff. But either way, we did get both the stations finished, and we did get a lot done in this episode, and that I'm proud of, because I did want to deliver on that promise that we are going to get a lot more stuff done. And I think I'm happy with what we were able to get done in this episode, and I think we are going to we're gonna be doing a lot more stuff per episode, and we're gonna be growing this world quickly, I think. So but that'll be it for today, and hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe, please, I need it.